On the night of October 23rd, 1989, a number of violent crimes were committed in the city of Boston, but only one would capture the attention of people across the nation, fascinating them with its unanswered questions and chilling them with its inhuman cruelty. At 8:43 p.m., a man on a car phone called into the Massachusetts State Police's special cellular emergency line. Dispatcher Gary McLaughlin took the call.
State Police Boston recorded an emergency 510.
My wife's been shot. I've been shot.
Where is this, sir?
I have no idea. I'm off. I was just coming from Tremont, Brigham and Women's Hospital.
Two shooting victims in Tremont Street area in Boston.
I went over to my desk at that time and picked up an extension phone of that cellular line.
Immediately, Sergeant Dan Grabowski contacted the Boston City Police.
And I picked up the hard line to Boston PD. It's a direct hard line to the police turret, which is their communication section.
Boston operations.
Boston Police Dispatcher Brian Cunningham stayed on the line, but could send no help for the shooting victims until he got their location.
Oh, straight through Huntington Ave.
Where are you right now, sir? Can you indicate to me?
No, I don't know. I don't know. He made us go to an abandoned area.
Okay, sir. Can you see out the windows? Can you tell me where you are, please?
No. I don't know. I don't see any signs. Oh, God.
Are you near Brigham and Women's Hospital?
No, we went straight through.
What kind of car do you have, sir?
Pardon me?
What kind of vehicle do you have?
Toyota Cressida.
Toyota Cressida?
Cressida. It's a...
Are you in the city of Boston, though?
Yes.
Can you give me any indication where you might be? Any buildings?
No.
Okay, has your wife been shot as well?
Yes. In the head.
In the head?
Yeah, I ducked down.
How long ago did you leave Brigham and Women's, sir? In what direction did you leave?
2 minutes, 3 minutes. Oh, man.
3 minutes from Brigham and Women's Center.
Oh, man.
Okay, sir, bear with me now. Stand by. Stay on the phone with me.
We were flying by the seat of our pants, for me anyway, with this particular mission. There was nothing could have prepared you for this particular type of call. This guy, this individual, this victim saying, I've been shot, my wife's been shot. I've got one problem. I don't know where the hell I am.
What's your name, sir?
Stewart, Chuck Stewart. Should I try to drive up to the corner to the street?
If you can drive, sir, without hurting yourself, yes, if you could. Just try to give me a cross street. If you can drive, give me any street indication and stay there. I'll get someone right to you, right away.
Stop the car. He took the keys, but I have a spare set. Oh, man.
Bear with me, Chuck. I'm going to get someone to you. Hang in with me now.
All right. I'm at a place. Oh, I can't read it.
Just try to read it, Chuck.
I'm coming up to an intersection, but there's no...
Toyota Cressida. What color's your car, buddy?
Street sign. Blue.
Blue Toyota Cressida.
Blue. Yeah.
Okay, Chuck, so try to give me a street sign.
Intersection.
Okay, Chuck. Is your wife breathing?
I just feel it gurgling. There's a busy street up ahead. Oh, man. I'm turning onto a busy street. I recognize where I am now. Should I drive to the hospital?
Just tell me what the street is, Chuck.
Oh, man. I'm pulling over. Tremont Street.
Tremont Street?
I can't hear you.
Chuck.
We had Huntington Avenue, Tremont Street, which are both lengthy streets. We had no idea other than that.
That's Huntington and Tremont. I've worked in Rock Street for about 5 or 6 years. I knew all the areas, alleys, most of the doorways, hallways in that area. I put the Bravo 101, the Bravo 104, and the Bravo 201 on call.
He dispatched police to the general vicinity.
Chuck.
Yes.
Where are you, buddy?
Tremont Street.
And what else?
Cash sign.
Tremont Street, and what sign? Hang in with me, Chuck. Can you hear me? Chuck.
Yeah.
Tremont Street where?
I don't know. I'm in front of K.
K what?
Oh, man.
Hang in, Chuck. Come on with me now. Chuck, I need you to help me a little bit, and I'll get assistance to you right away. We're on the way, Chuck. Chuck.
Yeah.
Can you...
man, I'm going to pass out.
Can you open the door? Can you open the window?
I'm blanking out.
You can't blank out on me. I need you, man. Chuck.
Interested. My wife has stopped gurgling. She stopped breathing.
Chuck, I'm going to get assistance to you, buddy. Open the door. Talk to someone on the street.
Despite his articulate behavior, we were losing him to a point where you could tell he was obviously losing blood, getting a little shocky on us. Time was your enemy. You were in a battle of time.
Open the door and talk to anyone that passes by, my friend.
All right, there's no one by.
Anybody at all. I want to talk to somebody, find out exactly where you are.
All right, all right, all right.
All right, brother.
Oh, man. Oh.
You hang in there with me. We're going to take care of this now. Help's on the way. Talk to me, Chuck.
Oh.
Where were you shot, Chucky? Chuck?
No, he's
Chuck.
he's faded out. We'll get nothing from him at all. Nothing.
Chuck? Chuck? Chuck, are you there?
We heard body movement in the vehicle. We heard breathing in the vehicle. We believe the victim to still be with us. So all we had was verbal stimulus in an attempt to rouse him and give him some incentive to let him know that we were still plugging for him.
It was difficult. That was my most difficult part of the mission, was when we lost verbal communication when he blacked out.
Chuck Stewart? Chuck, can you hear me?
Minutes passed, and still Charles said nothing.
Pick up the phone, Chuck.
Hey, wait a minute. You hear the sirens over
Do you
there?
hear the siren? I can hear a siren.
Yeah, Boston, we just heard a siren on the cellular line. I advised the dispatcher at the Boston turret there had to be a cruiser right within the immediate area for me to hear that siren. He shut down all the sirens of all the sector cars that he had out there.
Negative. Negative on the sirens.
And then one by one had each vehicle turn their siren on.
Chuck, pick up the phone.
They're putting on individual sirens.
Bravo 2-1, your siren's on.
No siren there. No, we're not getting anything now.
Bravo 2-1, shut off your siren. Bravo K1, sound your siren.
Not yet, no siren.
Bravo K1, shut off your siren. Bravo 1-4, sound your siren.
I think it was like the fourth or fifth car that we did hear the siren. You're right there, right on top of when we hear the siren, loud, real loud, right there.
St. Alphonsus.
What he did is flood that sector with vehicles, and it was a matter of, I don't know, seconds, they found the car.
Okay, they can. You located them. You've got it.
When the police finally arrived, it was just a total relief that he does have help there now, and it's out of our hands.
When we continued,
He was saying, you know, take care of my wife, how's my wife? And I didn't know how his wife was. I suspected that she was seriously injured and that she was in worse condition than he was.
the footage that follows is not a recreation. It was taped during a ride-along with the Boston Emergency Medical Service on the night Charles and Carol Stewart were shot, and on the days that followed. The instant the Stewart's blue sedan was located, EMS Deputy Superintendent Richard Serino and dozens of other emergency workers converged on the scene. The first paramedics to arrive were partners Dan Hickey and Kevin Shea.
I got out of the ambulance, grabbed some equipment, made my way over to the driver's side of the car, which was closest to me. My partner Dan went around to the other side to attend to the woman.
Stay back.
She had a substantial amount of injury to her head and was in cardiac arrest at that time.
Get him on the hands right on your chest. Go ahead. Stretch it not in there, Captain. All right. Pull right up. Take care of my wife. Yeah, tell me that people taking care of her.
He was saying, you know, take care of my wife, how's my wife? And I didn't know how his wife was. I suspected that she was seriously injured and that she was in worse condition than he was.
Other way. See who did this? Who did this? Out of the way. Black man. One guy, two guys.
He was very conversant and lucid and giving the Boston police officers quite a bit of information about what had transpired. And I was impressed with how how much detail and how much recall he had, considering what he had been through.
What do you look like? Blackmail. What do you have on for clothing, you remember? Your partner there, but he wants to get all over it. Black one? Any stripes on it? What color? Red? Did he have beard, mustache? You don't remember?
For Chuck, it was the golden hour, but for Carol, it was the golden 10 minutes because she was pregnant. In order for an attempt to save the child, she had to get to a hospital that could deliver the baby in 10 minutes in order to have a chance at the baby's life.
2 people shot. I'm sorry to say it's a fairly common occurrence these days. It's not a very rare situation where someone is injured by gunfire these days, so my only concern is what I have to do at that point to keep him alive, to get him to the hospital.
PCH?
Yeah, this one's going to city, the other one went to the Brigham, okay?
This is going to the city?
City, yep.
The woman to the Brigham?
Yep.
Okay, got it.
29-year-old Charles Stewart and his 30-year-old wife Carol were rushed to separate hospitals with critical gunshot wounds. At Brigham and Women's Hospital, where they had attended a childbirth class only minutes before, their baby was delivered by cesarean section 8 weeks prematurely. Charles was taken to Boston City Hospital.
And breathing okay? What hurts? What hurts? Okay. How about numbness or tingling in your legs? No? Okay.
12, 18, 59, 29 years old.
You want to see another hospital if they would get radio?
That hurt, buddy? Your belly hurt?
Just feels tight.
That hurts when I press?
Okay.
So he'll go up.
My wife.
She went to another hospital. We can't keep an update because we're taking care of you, okay? All right.
Are you putting in a chest tube?
Charles, is there someone you want us to call for you?
I want the x-ray.
Charles, is there someone you want us to call for you?
No.
No?
No.
Okay, so far we have 2 penetrating gunshot wounds. It looks like an entrance wound here. Second site over here. Patient's hemodynamically stable, complaining of belly tenderness. We're going to get some x-rays of his chest, shoot a quick picture of his kidneys, and then I'll go up to the operating room.
Okay, you can breathe.
Dr. James Feldman assessed Charles Stewart's condition in the emergency room.
He had very severe injuries. He had significant abdominal injuries, which were life-threatening. If there were a delay in either finding him or in any phase of his treatment, then he could have died from these. And hopefully he will not.
Okay, Mr. Stewart, this is just oxygen, all right? All right. Just want you to breathe normally. Is that ready? Yeah.
Split over here.
So what is that other
Is
bullet?
that the same bullet?
Doesn't make sense. We've got 2 holes in 1 bullet.
Chief of Surgery Irwin Hirsch performed the 6-hour operation.
The bullet had traversed the abdomen diagonal way. So there are a lot of things in the path of that bullet. Liver parts had to be removed, and blood vessels and intestines that were bleeding, and that had to be controlled. And as you do that, you begin to identify other injuries. It was a serious injury, yes. Required expert care, yes. But he should be able to be fully rehabilitated. It may take some time, but down the line, he should be able to do just about everything that he did before.
But Carol Stewart died within hours of being admitted to the hospital. And 17 days later, their baby Christopher would follow. The day after the shooting, the dispatches were inundated with praise for their extraordinary efforts to locate the Stewarts.
Well, very proud of you guys. It's always my pleasure, Governor. I never considered Our role is a heroic role. The individual hero in this case was Mr. Stewart. The gut and the grizzle and the savvy this man had, just the will to live, to keep on going, is incredible.
I'm not a hero. I try to do what I'm paid to do. There is emotion involved, and I certainly empathize with the person. I hope, I wish him the best. I would like to say I'm sorry to him for what he suffered.
Hundreds of mourners attended Carol Stewart's funeral, including Charles's brothers Matthew and Michael, and many dignitaries. But Charles himself was still recuperating in the hospital.
Following is a message from Chuck to his wife, Carol. Good night, sweet wife, my love. God has called you to his hands, not to take you away from me, all the happiness and gladness you brought, but to bring you away from the cruelty and violence that fills this world. In our souls, we must forgive this sinner, because he would too. Now you sleep away from me, I will never again know the feeling of your hand in mine, but I will always feel you, I miss you, and I love you. Your husband, Chuck.
Days went by, and no suspect was arrested. Pressure mounted to find the black man Charles Stewart had described as having robbed and then shot him and his pregnant wife. Police focused on the suspect. Shortly after Charles picked the man out of a lineup, his brother Matthew Stewart came forward and made a startling revelation to the authorities. Matthew's attorney, John Perini, explained.
What he's told me was that he found it difficult to believe that his brother had been robbed by the person subsequently charged on Mission Hill that evening, when the items claimed to have been taken in the robbery were in the bag, which was tossed to him by his brother Chuck on the evening of October 23rd, 1989.
Soon after Matthew Stewart admitted he had had some involvement, and that his brother Charles had apparently had some involvement as well, District Attorney Newman Flanagan held a press conference.
After a careful review of this new evidence, I instructed Boston Police homicide detectives to arrest Charles Stewart for the murder.
Television news reporter Miles O'Brien followed the case from the beginning.
This whole story blew open then, and the anger came from the black community, rightly so.
The case did not go forward in the manner that it should. They were too preoccupied with the story that Charles Stewart gave, which is now a total fabrication, and because of that, hundreds of black males were harassed.
They felt that Willie Bennett had been used in a very insidious way, and he had. But we were all duped. We wanted to believe this story because he was a victim. He was seriously shot.
The morning after Charles Stewart was identified as a suspect, his abandoned car was found on a 300-foot high bridge, and his body was pulled out of the icy water below.
Chuck Stewart was buried, and the governor wasn't there, and the mayor wasn't there, and there weren't 800 people there. It was a very different funeral from Carol Stewart's funeral. And this entire area was grieving in a different way this time.
Charles Stewart's apparent involvement in the murder of his own wife and child was particularly difficult for all the people who had worked so hard to save his life.
It was an unsettling call to take, and you just try to put it behind you. Unfortunately, with the media attention, the team really hasn't had a chance to put the mission behind us, and that's normally what you do, you have to do. Otherwise, you couldn't perform effectively. You couldn't emotionally perform effectively if you kept the image of that night and that mission always in the back of your mind.
I'm sure 10 years from now, I remember every detail about this call. There are other calls that a month ago you wouldn't remember too much about it, but this'll be with me forever. I think it'll be with anybody who was there, anybody who saw the picture, anybody who saw any of your footage. I'm sure we'll think about this.
Even though Mr. Stewart now has become the principal of the case, I don't think I would change anything that happened that night as far as what we did. We accomplished what we were put here to do that evening.
Somebody asked me some time ago if I will be happy when all this is over. And my answer then was the same as today, that there's absolutely no happiness in anything in this case. This is a total tragedy.
On January 25th, Carol DeMaty Stewart's parents and brother announced the formation of a scholarship fund in her name for people from the inner city area mistakenly targeted in the search for her killer.
She was truly the brightest of lights in our lives, a light that never go out in our minds. She will always and forever be with us. Mere words cannot express the terrible emptiness we feel or how much we miss her now. We pray that God has taken her and our beloved grandson, Christopher, into his embrace in heaven, where they will be safe and happy with him until the time we will join them. Thank you.
Maybe the effort by Carol's parents, that is the aspirin that's going to begin the healing process. But there's going to be a scar. How significant the scar, that's for historians to look 5 years or 10 years down as this case plays itself out, which it hasn't played itself out yet.
Many questions remain unanswered.
How much involvement does Matthew Stewart have in all of this? That's the big question. Who pulled the trigger is the biggest question. A lot will be told, and we might never know. We might never know.